And it's a very good morning to the Gelding as we return to Gelding this afternoon, Gelding. Hopeful that we'll do a little bit better than Anzac Day, which I think we just leave in the past. What do you think?
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yes, just wasn't our day, Anzac Day, was it?
I think Gelding, you are the master of understatement.
um, we'll just put that one down as not our day, Professor.
Well,
Money lost,
Gelding,
but
I was at
confidence.
sorry, Gelding, I was at the football and didn't have access to the TV to watch the races, unfortunately. And all I was getting was your texts, and I was just sinking lower and lower in the seats.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
But
Yes, I've got to
our
admit.
confidence hasn't been broken, though, Gelding. That's the main thing.
No, Professor. Sometimes that happens in racing, so you've got to take the slap when it comes, and we'll just take it and move on.
Well, and that's why the show's called what it is, Gelding. That's racing.
That's racing.
All right, Gelding. Well, we're back to Caulfield. You're in my home track. It's back to a 10 race card too. So it's nice to see the two extra races. The first is at 11:50 a.m. The last is at 5:05. So get home before dark, hopefully. The feature race 8, the Vobis Platinum Showdown, a 2-year-old open race with set weights, 1,200 metres for $1 million, Gelding. Wouldn't we like to have a horse in that today?
Oh, well, Professor, it's a 2-year-old race. Haven't we got a 2-year-old?
Yes.
Hey?
I think 12. The distance might tell against it though from the breeding.
Oh, Professor, maybe this day next year we might be in Adelaide
At the Oaks.
at the Oaks, eh?
Well, we've seen the pathway, haven't we?
We have indeed. So we can only hope, Professor.
Yeah, fingers crossed, Gelding.
Yes.
The track's rated a good 4. The rail's out 4 metres. What are your two best bets for Caulfield today?
I'm going very late in the day, Professor, in race 8 and race 9. Got to have a tip in the course of $1 million race. You can't let that go around without doing it. And look, even though they're 2-year-olds and a lot of form unknown, I've decided to stick with a horse that's had 5 runs already for 4 wins, Professor, in Bold Bastille, race horse number 8. This horse is trained by the Hazes. It's had 5 starts, as I said, for 4 wins. Professor, almost 700,000 in prize money. It's been flying in races over 1,000, 1,100. The only doubt on the horse is it steps up now to 1,200 metres. It's had one trip over the 1,200. That was in the Blue Diamond, Professor, where it finished down the track in 12th position. So it's been its one failure, but look, at the moment you can get round about the $1.90, Professor. It's got the race experience over a lot of horses, but let's just hope and see where we go with it, Professor. So that's race 8, number 8, Bold Bastille. Then I'll follow up with race 9, number 1, Hedged, a capitalist 3-year-old gelding trained by Mick Price and Mick Kent Jr. This horse has been roundabout 8 starts for 3 wins, Professor. Just under $500,000 in prize money. Look, it ran second last start up at Randwick, beaten by half a head by Joel Star, which won the mile race also at Caulfield. Not the Guineas, the fillies version of it. So, look, I like Hedge in this race. Hopefully can improve that half a head. No Jolly Star in the race. 59 kilos, Professor, but well positioned in barrier 4 and to be ridden by very much the return jockey and informed jockey in Ethan Brown. And with a lot of the good jockeys going over to Adelaide, Professor, Ethan Brown probably right up there in jockeys riding at Caulfield today. So my two, Professor, are race 8, number 8, Bold Bastille, and race 9, number 1, Hedged. And you like Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going a little bit earlier than you. Heading off in the opening race. Race 1, the Barristock Handicap. It's a benchmark 70 over 1,200 metres. In that race, Gelding, I like horse number 15, Pure Paradise. Coming out of barrier 12, it's had 10 starts for 2 wins and 4 placings, so a 20% win rate, 60% place rate. Gelding, what I like about this is back in class. It ran 5th in the Group 2 Angus Armanasco Stakes at Caulfield in February to Sassy Boom. Sassy Boom has since gone on to run in the Group 2 CUNY. So, this horse, Pure Paradise, won its last race at Pakenham over today's distance, 1,200 metres, which was a Class 1 race. So it's back in class. It's also been running in much stronger fields. So I like it. You can get $6 and $2.10 at the moment, Gelding. So there's some juicy odds there. Zach Spain's in the saddle. Now, I haven't seen this when I've been, in all the time we've been doing That's Racing, Gelding. Zach Spain over his last 50. What's his percentage win rate?
Oh, it'd be pretty high, Professor.
0.
Zero.
0 over his last 50.
Oh,
so it does sort of.
I would have thought that Zach's been riding pretty well in the country, and
he has, he has, but not over the last 50.
Oh, Jesus, that's a worry, Professor.
Well, he's about to turn it round, isn't he?
Oh, I hope so.
Yes.
You would say, of course, as I said before, with all the jockeys, the good jockeys in Shin and Lane and Williams and all that going over to Adelaide and all that. That's where some of these other jockeys, lesser known jockeys, get their chances on good horses.
That's right. And trained by the duo Kennewell and Yeomans, who we haven't mentioned very much on That's Racing.
No, but have had an ale with Luke Kennewell. So very gentleman not lacking in confidence.
Well, they've got a win rate of 12% over their last 50, so I like that. As I said, race 1, horse 15, Pure Paradise. And turning to my second selection, Gelding, is in race 3, the Vobis Gold Mile, 3-year-olds and above. It's an open class race over 1,600 metres. In this one, Gelding, I like. And Gelding, you know that the Giraffe would pick this horse in this field. Number 3, Barbie's Fox, coming out of barrier 4.
Yes, the Giraffe will have a busy day with Barbie's Fox at Caulfield, and then he's got his old favourite Froxy Frida racing in Adelaide today.
It's a big day for the Giraffe, Gelding.
It'd be unlike the Giraffe to be all over the place, wouldn't it, Professor?
He is definitely all over the place, Gelding. All right, so this horse is back in class, Gelding. Now, you currently can get $4.80 and $1.65, which I think is excellent odds if you just look at. Now, I know it's had 48 races with only 6 wins, but one of the reasons it hasn't won more races, let me just go through the last 8 races it's had. It's run a Group 1, a Group 3, a Group 1, a Group 2, a Group 2, a Group 1, the Coolmore that was, a Group 2, and recently, 2 weeks ago, the Group 1 Queen of the Turf at Royal Randwick, where it was only beaten by 4 lengths. Now, it's a big drop back in class to an open class race, Gelding, and I think this might be a little bit of a sleeper in this field. I reckon today's the day to get another win.
Well, Professor, I like it. As you said, the Hayes boys certainly haven't missed a horse in giving its chances in Group 1 races and group races. But look, it's a very consistent horse. As we were talking before, Professor, for the listeners, this horse has been, as you said, 2 to 3 lengths off many horses in group races. So hopefully dropping back to an open class race, this may be the right class for Barbie's Fox.
Well, yes, it might, Gelding. And I've ignored, much probably to your chagrin, the top weight, Pounding, who is trained by?
The Moody Coleman team.
I hope this one doesn't come back to bite me, Gelding. I've got a bad feeling about it.
Would it be racing in the same colours we'll be racing in, Professor?
Well, I think it might be.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're going against the stable.
Yeah, I'm hoping they won't be too wily today.
Okay. Well done. Well done.
So, Gelding, my two, race 1, horse 15, Pure Paradise, race 3, horse 3, Barbie's Fox with the fingers crossed. Gelding, I can't do any worse than Anzac Day.
Professor, you are sending me a Tarso, aren't you?
Why is that?
To get to the TAB? What time's the first?
The first is at 11:50, Gelding.
Oh, blimey.
Well, you're such an organised person, Gelding.
That's why I'm filling out the form here, Professor, as we go. So,
all right, Gelding. Let's turn to the Professor's parlay. Still going at 56%, even though we didn't have another win on Anzac Day. So I still think that 56% is excellent since the start of the year. Anzac Day let us down. Liberty State, 6 lengths off the winner, finished 8th. Would you like to just tell the viewers what you thought about the run?
Liberty State. Well, as we said, we got it. We liked it. The horse had some really good form. We led around the turn, Professor, and we looked to be travelling nicely coming around the home turn under no effort. And I thought, geez, we're in for a big chance here. All of a sudden to see the jockey who was Gordy Childs let the horse go to have its head, but it kept going the same pace, Professor. and horses just kept going past it down the middle of the track. So,
Gelding, I had a look at the.
It was a very disappointing run.
Gelding, I had a look at the replay.
Yep.
And I looked at that point in the race that you just described, and it reminded me of a horse that you and I owned where we thought it might have had a bit more of a motor and it didn't. And I thought, geez, this is deja vu. I've seen a horse run like this before where you're expecting it to sweep past the field and no, it just keeps plodding on at the same pace.
No dash, no ping.
No ping. No ping on the turn. That's our favourite. That's our favourite saying, Gelding. It had no ping on the turn.
Oh dear. Yeah. So, as I said, Professor, it was looking quite well coming around the turn, but as you said, it just gave up with nothing. So, look, I haven't read the steward's report to see. Hopefully, there's nothing wrong with the horse, but it just, as you said, just didn't show anything. No ping. I like it.
Well, the good news for the parlay was that the only good news was that Melbourne Storm absolutely thrashed the Rabbitohs, which is what I thought would happen.
Killed them.
I did the homework, Gelding. I went back and looked at the Giraffe's predictions.
Yes.
He's predicted the Rabbitohs to finish second at the end of the home and away season. And guess what? They're currently stone motherless last with only 1 win for the season.
Got a bit to do, haven't they?
Yes, and I think there's a bit of prayer required for the Giraffe to get his Rabbitohs anywhere near the 8.
To be fair to the Giraffe, though, was that done with the heart or the head?
Oh, well, a little bit of heart, but I bet he didn't think that they'd be sitting on the bottom.
Oh, I'm sure of that. And I don't think many tipsters would have had them where they are, but
no, certainly not. And believe it or not, Gelding, I couldn't believe it when I saw the result. The Gold Coast Titans beat the New Zealand Warriors in New Zealand.
Unbelievable.
A team that hadn't won a game went to New Zealand and won. And that just tells you how the shaky Isles, Gelding, it's a shaky team. New Zealand Warriors will no longer feature in the parlay. Right. Except if I think they're going to be beaten.
I like it, Professor. I like it. But we've been a bit stiff with some of the footy predictions the last couple of weeks, like West Coast Freo letting us down. Still reeling from that one, Professor, but anyway.
Yeah, I know. All right, Gelding, now you and I in the pre-show segment didn't agree on a bet of the day, but I would have thought from what you were saying it'd either be one of your two, Bold, Bastille or Hedged. Which one do you like the better of those two?
Oh, well,
or did you have a better bet of the day that might be somewhere else?
Well, I do like Estrel over in Adelaide in the Sangster, Professor. A horse that's won 3 in a row, trained by Kieran Maher. But let's stick with where we're going. I think the Hayes boys are doing a fantastic job. Any horse that, ran 6 in the Blue Diamond and won every other race, let's give that another chance. We know it'll be up on the lead at Caulfield, which may suit with the rail out 4 metres, and hopefully it can skip away. So I'd probably say the bet of the day would be race 8, number 8, Vobis Steel, Professor, looking for a certain winner.
All right, and let's parlay that into the Gold Coast Suns playing on the Gold Coast at home to beat the West Coast Eagles. That's 11th versus 14th, Gelding. But there's a bit of thought gone into this. They're playing at Fortress Gold Coast, and you and I both know they are very hard to beat at home.
Yes, and the wonder kid, Harley Reid, rested after 6 games of football, Professor.
Yes. Did Royce Hart get a rest after 6 games?
I don't think so.
Well, let me ask you this one. Did he want a rest?
Exactly. So that makes you wonder, doesn't it? Eh?
Maybe he doesn't like to travel.
Well, apparently he's gone home. He's come back to Tangula to catch up with family. So anyway, an interesting call. I would have thought West Coast after 2 wins, and Harley Reid certainly been in them, and he wasn't shy. I think he ran second in the Ross Glendinning meeting in the Derby last week when they won, and gave a clip to the bloke that didn't give him best on ground in his on-air interview. So he's obviously not a shy man.
Well, you can't win them all, Gelding.
Maybe we should put him with Lloyd Kennywell.
The interesting thing is the bookies have got, if you've thought that the bookies thought this might be close, the line's 32.5 against West Coast. So I can't see Lightning striking twice in the same place, Gelding.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that one, Professor.
And we'll parlay that into, and there was a trap game here, Gelding. I was thinking of taking Sydney to beat Hawthorn at the MCG, and I had it all penned out, and then I thought about Richmond versus Sydney at the MCG. Yeah,
do you reckon they just coasted that? I wish we could get that form back, Professor.
Well, yes, but, Sydney on the MCG might be a bit of a question mark, and I don't believe that Hawthorn will beat them, but my pen got a little bit shaky when I was thinking about Sydney couldn't beat Richmond. I don't mean that disrespectfully, Gelding, but I just thought, well, no. So we're going to the NRL, and the Brisbane Broncos have really done nothing wrong. They've only won 4 from 7, but they're far too good a team, Gelding. They've got a plus 40 points differential sitting at 7th, and I predict that they'll finish in the top 4. They're playing the West Tigers, who I think are pretty disappointing. They've only won 2 from 6. They've got a minus 31 points differential. The bookies have got it just under 2 converted tries, the difference, 11.5 points. So that's good enough for me. So today's parlay, race 8, horse 8 at Caulfield, Bold Bastille, into the Gold Coast Suns to beat the West Coast Eagles, into the Brisbane Broncos to beat the West's Tigers. And that's about all for today, Gelding. Sorry, Gelding?
Bit of a theme, going the Queensland sides.
Yeah, a bit of a theme.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether Bold Bastille was actually brought in the Magic Millions up in Queensland.
Well, that'd be a nice trifecta, wouldn't it?
It would be. So maybe a bit of research for myself.
All right, Gelding. Well, it's such a lovely day. You and I should get out into it. And until
next you Saturday, set me a task, as I said, Professor.
Sorry about that, Gelding.
Off and racing as soon as we're over, and off to the TAB.
All right, Gelding. So until next Saturday, and that's racing, it's good luck.
And good punting.